Hello everyone, I am Ranilyn Valeroso, and for today's video, I am going to show you on how to assemble and disassemble a system unit. How to assemble and disassemble a system unit. What is assembling a PC? Assembling a PC means connecting different components of a computer so that user can use the PC or computer. First thing you need to do before assembling and disassembling a computer unit is you need to neutralize your body's static electricity, because the human body generates static electricity which can damage electronic parts of your computer. How to neutralize static electricity? The easiest way is you can hold any metal body for a few seconds. Thus you can neutralize your body's static electricity. This quick tip you need to practice to assemble and disassemble a computer system. But you should always wear a grounding strap to handle electronic devices. It is the best practice you should follow before assembling a computer. The following are the steps to assemble CPU. Number 1. Take inventory. Before you start, take inventory of your parts. Make sure you have the following components and tools with you: the case, the motherboard, processor, heatsink, and CPU fan. SMPS, hard disk drive, CD or DVD drive, RAM, CMOS battery, a good screwdriver set. Number 2. Make space, make time. Building a PC takes space. You can use your dining room table to build your PC, so make sure you have plenty of working space and a few hours to proceed with minimal interruption. You must work on a flat, stable tabletop, surface, or bare floor, where you have room to lay out all the items to begin with assemble. Number 3. Prepare your CPU cabinet. Now it is time to prepare the case. Remove the case cover from the CPU cabinet. You need to check screw brush standoffs are perfectly placed or not. If it is not in a proper position, in that case, you need to position them accurately. Number 4. Install the motherboard. You need to secure the motherboard onto the PC case and inspect carefully for any visible defects. You need carefully position the motherboard on top of the press standoff. After that, line up all the holes. Use the screws that accompanied the case to fasten down the motherboard. Number 5. Don't forget to place the CMOS in the proper position. Number 5. Install the processor. Use the unlocking mechanism to open the CPU socket, which is usually a lever. Carefully line up the pins and place the chip in its socket. It will fit only when oriented correctly. An arrow or a missing pin on one corner of the chip will show you how to line things up. Number 3. Align with the triangular symbol with the processor and socket key marks, as shown in the figure. Number 4. Lower the lever to lock the CPU into place. Number 6. Install the CPU heatsink. Attach the clip that holds the heatsink in place, keeping in mind that it may require a fair amount of force. Plug the CPU fan's power connector into the proper connector on the motherboard. Number 7. Install RAM memory. Unlock the two tabs from both ends of the RAM slot. To install the RAM, insert them into the proper sockets and push down firmly but evenly until the clips on both sides of the sockets pop into place. If your motherboard supports dual-channel memory, consult the user manual to determine which pairs of RAM sockets you should use. Number 8. Install the power supply unit. Place the SMPS inside the CPU cabinet in the proper position. Final steps to install SMPS. You need to tighten the screw to secure the SMPS to the case. Number 9. Install hard disk drive. Place the hard disk drive inside the bay properly and tighten the screw. Number 10. Install CD or DVD. Place the CD or DVD inside the CPU cabinet to align with the 5.25-inch bay. And finally, you need to tighten all the screws to hold firmly. Number 11. Install expansion cards. Expansion cards helps to increase the functionality of your computer. You can place expansion card on the motherboard. Number 12. Install sys or rear cooling fan. Find the location where you can place the sys or rear cooling fan. Generally, sys rear cooling fan can be below the SMPS. Number 13. Bus cable connection. Amazingly, bus cable or data cable connections are prime connections. Bus cable helps to share information or data between the storage device and motherboard. If the motherboard has a SATA bus connector, then you need to use SATA cables. And if your motherboard has a PATA bus connector, then you can use PATA cables or IDE cable. In general, two bus cables needs to connect inside the CPU. First, bus cable connects the hard disk drive and motherboard, and the second bus cable connects the DVD drive and motherboard. Number 14. Power cable connection. This one is the final step of assembling a CPU. You need to provide power to the different parts of the CPU. Plug the ATX power connector from your power supply into the matching port on your motherboard. Finally, connects power to the various parts of your computer. You have to connect the power cable with the CPU case, monitor, speaker, and printer. What is disassembling a PC? Disassembling a PC means disconnecting the different components of a PC. Steps to disassemble a system unit. Number 1. Unplug the AC power supply to the PC from the wall socket. This one is the first step to begin a PC disassemble process. Always remember, first disconnect to all the power supply connected to your computer system before starting to remove parts. Number 2. Remove the case covering. Loose the screws and remove the case covering to access the inside parts of the CPU cabinet case. Number 3. Unplug bus cables and ATX power cables. Disconnect all the cables one by one inside the CPU case. First, disconnect ATX power cables from the motherboard. After that, disconnect power supply cables, bus cables from the hard disk drive and motherboard. Number 4. Remove adapter cards if any. If any adapter is connected, then disconnect the card from the motherboard. Number 5. Remove the processor and the heatsink and fan. Now it's time to remove the heatsink from the motherboard. Generally, the CPU fan and the heatsink attach together. If it is separated in case, you need to remove the fan first. After that, you can remove the CPU heatsink. And the final step, unlock the processor socket and remove the processor from the motherboard carefully. Number 6. Remove hard disk drive. It's time to remove the other parts of the computer system. Remove the hard disk drive or SSD from the motherboard. You can also remove the CD or DVD drive from the CPU case. Sometimes, to remove CD or DVD drive from the CPU case, you need to remove the front cover of the CPU cabinet case first. After that, you can remove the room drives. Number 7. Remove memory modules. In this process, you do remove the RAM from the motherboard. First, unlock the RAM from both ends and pull the RAM carefully. Number 8. Remove the power supply unit. Already you know SMPS supplies power to the various parts of the computer system. Here you need to remove the SMPS from the CPU cabinet case. Number 9. Remove the motherboard. The final step of the PC disassemble process is this one. Carefully remove the motherboard from the CPU cabinet case. Conclusion. Assembling and disassembling a computer system is not a difficult task but requires observation and knowledge of the different components of the system. You need to be extra careful when fitting in these components and make sure that they are not fitted forcefully but firmly.